This chapter was laid out and read in such a nice way, and the ending of it for me is probably one of the coolest scenes or moments that I've seen yet. One Piece, chapter 390, Accepting the Challenge. Now, this was a very touching chapter, I thought. Well, we'll get into it here. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and Enies Lobby-filled and tear-jerking tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with, of course, Luffy trying to communicate desperately with Robin, but her, claiming that she wants to die, and really the chapter ending off with the CP9 members, the remaining ones, obviously minus Bluno, who's laying there knocked the fuck out because he got geared up. He got smacked up with the second gear by Luffy a few chapters back. But the chapter ended off, of course, with the CP9 guys standing, 6 wide and looking all just cool and like there's going to be some fights going down, which we know is going to happen. And then that's how the chapter left off. The chapter picks up, and it's actually pretty cool. It shows us a number of different things going on, because if you remember, there's so many different battles raging on inside the courthouse. The left tower, the right tower, where you've got Kiwi and Mozu going with some of the Franky family up those sides to try to get to the levers to drop the drawbridge. You, of course, have some of the Franky family, as well as that Yokozuna, the frog, that's holding the hole in the door to the courthouse that Zoro had cut through for them to get in, and holding back all the soldiers from coming in, and of course, getting behind everyone. And then you've got the Baskerville, who's locked in battle with a bunch of the Franky family. You've got these the guilty juror guys, the guilty, and they got the ball and chains or whatever. And I think there was like 11 of them, if I remember correctly. I know a couple of them have been knocked out and taken out, but there's still a number of them left, and they're of course hounding everybody. You've got, as you get towards the upper floors, trying to work their way desperately to the top, you of course have Zoro and Sanji. Chopper and Nami are together, and then you've got the Sniper King, Usopp, who of course is riding on the shoulder of Oimo and Kashi, the two giants that he went and obviously enlisted to help them out over here. So there's battles going on everywhere, and this chapter does a really cool job of jumping from one thing to the next and making it all kind of culminate at the end. And really, the main thing is the main, I guess you would say, antagonist in this particular chapter is these guilty jurors. We find out from the Baskerville, because as the Franky family's fighting him, and they're like, oh, we didn't even know that there was any, judge here. We had heard that it's just an empty courthouse, and that anybody who comes to Enies Lobby is just automatically guilty, right? And he says, no, this is the greatest courthouse, and the justice is always served here, and blah, 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 and there's always a fair trial. But then he goes on to say, but it comes down to the jurors, and the jurors are all ex-pirates who have been, who were sentenced to execution, but, but they want to bring as many people down with them as they can. So I don't know if they get like a stay of execution as long as they keep, rendering a guilty verdict. But he goes, so in the history of Enies Lobby, there's not been one person that's come here that's actually not been not guilty, So basically he goes and tries to tell you in one sentence that it's a just and fair, trial that people are getting, and then in the other one it tells you, but nobody's ever been not guilty. So it's a fallacy, it's a farce, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's typical world government crap, and just doing what they do to put up the smoke and mirrors and the facade that it's actually this great just thing. In reality, when they bring somebody there, they're doomed anyway. So. But what I did like is that you got Yokozuna, man. Dude, this frog is just hulking up over here, dude. He's taking guys out left and right. They're trying to charge the door. He's knocking guys back by the dozens, He winds up going and starting to take a pummeling as a couple of these guilty jurors, appear, and they render their verdict guilty, and they start pummeling him with these chain balls, And during the course of the chapter, it goes back and forth and flips to him a few times, but I'm just going to kind of cover what happens in here. And what I like is that then, as he's just taken so many, there's blood coming off him everywhere, and Oda does a great job of, without killing anybody, making people look really effed up sometimes, and you just tell, man, they just look battle-worn and just scarred and beaten and bruised and bloody, all the good bees. But Yokozuna looks like he's just about done. He has taken just a beating from these giant chain balls, And of course, we know that you know, he strengthened himself over the last 8 years by jumping in front of and trying to stop a train, the Puffing Tom, the water train. So, so clearly, or the sea train. So clearly, he's you know, clearly he's a couple sandwiches shy of a good picnic. But anyway, and I shouldn't even say that because it's not like he's crazy. He's doing what he needs to do right now. But anyway, as it looks like all hope is lost, all of a sudden, man, we get, because then they're like, you know, bring it on, and they're like, we got 6,000, you know, 6,000 of us here. We're coming. We're just gonna attack with sheer numbers, right, like gangs do. And all of a sudden, man, you just it comes in. You got Oimo and Kashi coming in, just swinging clubs and axes and hands and knocking guys away. And then they wind up, you know, Usopp winds up finding out from some of the Franky family that, of course, his friends are in there and going up towards the top, so that he should meet up with them, you know. A couple of these, when you go back inside the courthouse, we get in the left and right tower with Kiwi and Mozu and the crews that they're with. They wind up, Kiwi and Mozu wind up just barely getting by, it looks like, and it looks like they're still being hampered, obviously, and bothered and slowed down by these guilty jurors, you know, that are coming after them. You know, but obviously it's just kind of meant to build that tension as all these different groups are trying to converge for one goal. I put 2 fingers. Anyway, you get it, one common goal. And then as you get, there's a great shot with Zoro where he goes and he gets lost. He's walking in one door, he's walking out the other door. You see him in the shots going by the same area, and he's like, I got separated from everybody. I don't know how this fucking guy can get lost. I swear to God, he couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag, you know. It's so sad that the guy gets lost in like a 10x10 room. I don't know how he does it, but anyway, it's his thing, right? That and sleeping, you know, on the boat during like some major shit that's going on, you know. But so anyway, you wind up kind of they go and they flash to Chopper and Nami, and they wind up running into one of those, one or more of those. I think it might have been a couple of them. Those guilty, you know, the guilty jurors. And then all of a sudden you see out of nowhere, man, he winds up going and doing one of his. You see the dragon. I forget the exact name of the move, but it's something dragon, if I remember correctly. And of course, I'm not gonna wind up. I'm not gonna wind up getting it right over here. I wind up looking for 2 minutes to get the damn thing. But he winds up taking these things out with using one of his signature moves, and but he winds up bringing down part of the place with it and everything. The bottom line is through trials and tribulations and just all kinds of difficulties, right? And then we go up onto the roof, and Luffy's up there, and he's talking about with Robin, and he's like, if you want to die, that's fine. He goes, and I thought this was great. He's like, if you want to die, that's fine. But listen, we already came here, so we're going to come and rescue you. And then if you want to die later, that's cool, okay? And he's sitting there, he's like picking his nose. He's up to the second digit, picking his nose, And Spandam's like, he's picking his nose. And I was just hoping that Luffy would pull it out and just flick a booger at Spandam, Gum gum snot rocket. Anyway, so gum gum booger surprise. Anyway, so there's a bunch of other funny ones there. Gum gum snot a booger. And anyways, but that's what I was hoping for. That is not what happened. Of course, Robin does just want to die, it seems like, and I have no idea where everything's going on in her head, and we're going to find that out soon, I'm hoping. But the end of the chapter winds up wrapping up with, I thought, a great moment. Everybody converges at the top almost all at once, as Zoro, Nami, and Chopper are there and up there and getting towards Luffy. They see Sanji, kicking some ass, and of course there's a little exchange between him and Zoro. Hey, Moss head, this, because Sanji wanted to be the first there. And then Usopp comes like flying in somehow and lands on the roof. And what I really liked though was that at the end of it, man, the end of it had to be the best, right? Luffy says, and he goes, and I quote, "If you want to die or whatever, you can say whatever you want, but you have to say it to our faces, right?" And then it was, he's right, Robin, come back. And if you look at Robin's tearing up, man. She's got a couple of big crocodile tears popping up in each eye over there, right? Because, she's finally like, oh my God, these people just care about me so much, I can't believe it. And then this has to be one of the most awesome shots ever, right? This is them standing 6 across, just, I mean, solid. From right to left, you got Chopper, you got Sanji lighting a smoke, Luffy looking badass, you got Sniper King Usopp, with his, whatever the hell that is, this big slingshot looking thing over his shoulder. You got Zoro standing there badass with his hand on sword and ready to go. Nami looking all sexy, she's got her staff there. And I like just even the faces at the bottom that everybody's making, man. This is just the ultimate in you know, just leave the rest to us, they wind up saying, but everybody has got this determined look on their face like they're just going to go to war. And it doesn't matter who gets in their way, it doesn't matter who tries to stop them. And this is part of what I really, truly love about this, because this is so much like a family, a close-knit, tight family. And for those of you that did not grow up or have not grown up in a very close-knit, tight family, you know, mother, father, brothers and sisters, you know, it truly is something that you're missing out on, I feel. I grew up as the oldest of 6 kids, and we didn't have a whole lot of anything, and money was one of the main things. But we did have each other, and as corny as it may sound, we always were taught by our parents to look out for one another, and no matter what, you know, to you know, not bully and be pieces of shit to one another, to actually, you know, be good to one another. And we did, you know, we did. Unfortunately, as we've gotten older and gotten married, kids, moved across the country from each other and stuff, we've grown apart a little bit. But this is what it means to me. You know what I mean? It's this unity, and it's this, you know what, we will go to war for you, for one of ours, you know. And that's what I took from this whole chapter. So that's where the chapter leaves off. And my chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is what were your thoughts on them, just the convergence of everybody all at once, and then just standing 6 wide like that. And basically, you know, I mean, Robin's tearing up, and they're just, and I love Luffy. You want to die, that's fine, whatever, do it later. But but I just love how everybody is just like, boom, we're going to ride or die on this one, you know. What were your thoughts on that and how the chapter ended off? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Subscribe to my other channels and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram too.